America is helping Chinese companies prosper at the expense of U.S. companies. U.S. local and state governments are subsidizing Chinese companies by giving them things like low-interest loans, free land, or even cash. NTD's Don Ma brings us more.
Over the past 10 years or so, U.S. state and local governments gave nearly $2 billion in aid or subsidies to Chinese firms. Rob Atkinson, economist and president of think tank Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, explains to me why the U.S. is helping out its own competitor.
Pretty much every state government and many local governments want to attract businesses to their borders. It's when they want to grow their economy. By and large, they're indifferent to whether those are American companies or British companies or Chinese companies. And so they end up actually subsidizing Chinese companies to come to the United States.
U.S. local and state governments are subsidizing Chinese companies by giving them things like low-interest loans, free land, or even cash. But the fact that the U.S. is helping its major competitor doesn't make sense to Atkinson.
Official U.S. policy is to try to slow down China because they're playing unfairly, if you will. So here we are trying to slow down China, but at the same time, state and local governments are providing subsidies to speed up China.
Some of these companies that the U.S. is helping out are owned by Chinese state-owned companies. For example, between 2009 to 2013, subsidiaries of Chinese state-owned firm Aviation Industry Corp of China got over $168 million in subsidies. As per Atkinson, this is not a good thing.
You make the Chinese economy stronger. You make them stronger competitors to American companies. 20 years ago, the United States had about 60% of the solar panel production in the world was right here in the United States. American workers making solar panels. Today, it's down to about 5%. The Chinese have about 65% of it.
Obviously, Chinese companies putting U.S. companies out of business is a big concern. But Atkinson says there's a simple way to get local and state governments to stop helping Chinese firms.
For example, Congress could pass a law that says if you would like to continue to receive federal funds, such as for highways, you can't give money to a Chinese firm. It would stop tomorrow.
Atkinson highlighted the fact that the Chinese regime wants to be the world's top superpower. He says the more economic and technological strength China gets, the easier it is for it to achieve that goal. Don Ma, NTD News.
Here are just a few examples of Chinese-owned companies that received U.S. subsidies. Swedish luxury car maker Volvo, owned by Chinese automotive company Geely, got over $200 million in U.S. state and federal subsidies leading up to 2015. The state of South Carolina contributed to that figure. Electronics maker Motorola, officially named Mobility and owned by Chinese computer company Lenovo, got over $100 million in aid for 10 years leading up to 2011. Motorola got a subsidy from the state of Illinois. Another example is General Electric, owned by Chinese appliance company Haier, enjoyed over $20 million in tax or credit rebates from the state of Kentucky in 2012.